So today I'm here to talk about the most recent update on the Rome Yard project. The Rome Yard project is a best practice public and private partnership. Before I go into that partnership, let me highlight two individuals that was critical in bringing this deal to the table. The gentleman that's speaking at the during the city council meeting, and this is a city council meeting, is the president of the related group. I think last year since their inception, they have put together over 40 billion to $50 billion worth of real estate and commercial deal. The person over here to my right with the gray hair, the eyeglasses, and the suit and tie is Joe Robinson. Joe Robinson has really played a part in bringing us to this particular point in the project. Joe Robinson is the chairperson for the CAC, which is a part of the CRA. He's also the vice president for the West Tampa Community Development Corporation, which is leading the effort in the initiative that I'm going to be talking about. Joe was critical in making sure that the community played a role in making sure that the developers that was coming to the community actually gave back to the neighborhood. So I'll give a shout out to Joe Robinson. Joe Robinson tasked me with creating the program necessary in order to increase the quality of life in the community. This particular program, we received requests to meet from New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, and DC. What impressed those locations was the fact that we did this without paid staff, no office, no website, and no money in the bank. We had the ingredients to success. That is, we had a good plan, good leadership, and good partnerships. The plan we'll talk about later. The good leadership includes Joe Robinson, who is the chairperson of the West Tampa CDC, and Dr. Margaret Fisher, who is the chairperson for the West Tampa CDC, and Joe Robinson is the vice chairperson. The other thing we had was partnership. The partnership included local, state, and federal government, the CDC of Tampa, the Tampa Housing Authority, neighborhood civic groups, community residents, other nonprofits, and the West Tampa CAC and CRA. So let's then dive into the presentation that was given during the city council meeting.
To council, as Nicole said, I just want to, update the council on the project and the progress that we've made to date, and what the request is for a simple modification of the phasing and timing plan. How do I? So quickly, as you know, many of you know, this is a public-private partnership between our company, the City of Tampa, and some of our local partners, Tampa Housing Authority, the West Tampa CDC, Tampa CDC, Ducon Construction, who you heard from earlier, and some of our other partners here that are on the screen. Affordable units, workforce housing units, market rate units, and for sale units, along with retail, a cultural center, a workforce training center, and live work units in the project. What we're proposing is, and we kept the same numeration of the phases. We didn't want to change that, so we didn't have to, confuse everyone. So what we're saying is phase 3A is still going to be, referred to as phase 3A, but it's going to be the first phase that we want to start the construction with. So you see the location of the phase there, where it's at. It's right between those dotted black lines are all of the major infrastructure components that run through that site. So we had to configure our building and our parking garage to make sure that we weren't in conflict with any of that infrastructure. Live work units. We have our lease agreement with the West Tampa CDC, and Tampa CDC is going to run the workforce training program that'll happen on the ground floor of that phase. We have our agreement with Ducon Construction. You heard from them earlier. They're going to be working on the Section 3.
The project that the West Tampa CDC is bringing to the table is a three-part project: artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, GPT, and Web3. To focus on creating opportunities using this technology, first of all, to increase income among community residents, and secondly, to increase skill set. The second part of this is our home-based e-commerce center, which is focused on providing job opportunities for those who are low income, senior citizens, those with criminal records, at-risk youth, and those that are struggling in the communities. And then thirdly is the Investment 2.20 Center, which focuses on working with residents to create wealth by understanding stocks, understanding bonds, understanding NFTs, crypto, and those other things associated with wealth. One of the things we teach is that instead of buying that pair of tennis shoes for $250, invest that money in the stock so that money can work for you. And over a period of time, that money will work for you and getting your tennis shoes for free because of that initial investment. The other thing is focusing on individuals with limited income on how to invest in stocks. Like, for example, a $250 stock, but putting partial money on that stock. So they pay a fraction of the stock. Instead of the whole $250, they might invest $10, $15. Again, it's a way to increase the investment.
A component to make sure that we have those right Section 3 subs, but in addition to that, they are going to be the general contractor of record for a component of the site, the home ownership component. The first phase, 3A, is already in design development. Community benefits, it was mentioned earlier that we do have a community benefits agreement. Again, I talked about it earlier. We have an agreement to do the workforce training with the two CDCs of Tampa. We actually have a 40% local hiring commitment and a 40% minority contracting commitment in our.
We talked earlier about being able to do this deal with no money, no office, no website. Part of the community benefit agreement includes office space for the West Tampa CDC. We plan to leverage this office space in order to bring in funding for the programs that we mentioned earlier. The West Tampa CDC has access to software to over 100,000 different funders that fund throughout the United States. In addition to that, we'll be training residents on how to write grants as well. This is an example on how you can do a deal without no money, no office, and definitely no website.
DA, so it's a little bit more robust than some of the dialogue that was I heard earlier here in the chambers. We are going to be creating micro retail just to give small businesses a lot of opportunities to start there, and we also have in our community benefits agreement the requirement to set aside retail rates at a 10% discount. That all of that's in our agreement. Nothing is being changed on that. Again, some of the
This next video is doing a conversation with State Representative Diane Hart, in which we were able to share with her some of the things that's coming out of the Rome Yard deal. Again, we talk about that partnership and making sure you have partnership with local, state, and federal government.
And peace for Black folk throughout the city of Tampa as we move forward. I see that Michael Randolph says in the Rome Street project, the West Tampa CDC will oversee the home base and e-commerce center, which focuses on businesses, business opportunity for the poor, for those with criminal records, seniors, at-risk youth, and those struggling in general. This time, the community wins.
The community actually does win, especially those individuals that live in communities that fear gentrification. The programs we're bringing together is to reduce gentrification by giving opportunity to those individuals that are poor, have baggage, be it criminal records, be it lack of skills, and giving them the skill set necessary to change their narrative. This is truly a grassroots approach to economic development.